Welcome to another edition of One-on-One with KD Bo. Today, my guest is fabulous. Super fabulous. Well, you'll see it in a moment. She is an international consultant, best-selling author, keynote speaker, my friend. And oh yeah, by the way, she is the COO of Content Factory USA. Y'all gonna love this conversation. My guest today, Dethra Giles.
Hello, that's me.
Yeah, it's been a long time. You know, I honestly, how you the COO of the company and I'm struggling to sit down and talk with you?
Because I'm busy. When you're running a company, you want your COO to be hard to get to.
It's the flex for me. It's the flex for me. How you doing? You good?
I am doing well. I cannot complain. How about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling winning. I'm winning. So, and I really am winning. I want to, so many things I want to ask you, and I can get a little cerebral with you because I know you get it.
Yes.
What y'all don't know is actually Dethra gets me straight in a way. And what I like is I can be a strong personality. I know that. Mm-hmm. But she does it with a smile. Do it with a smile, but you're firm. And you mean every syllable.
Every single syllable, all of them.
Every syllable that you're saying. So you are the CEO of Employeeprep. Tell me about Employeeprep.
So Employeeprep is an HR consulting firm, and we really specialize in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we go into companies literally around the world and help them optimize the performance of their people, but mainly their people of color and their minority population.
So what's your background? What made you decide to even do that?
So what's crazy is I started out my life thinking I was going to be a neurosurgeon. So I went to, yes.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I went to college like, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon, and got into this place on our campus that felt very much like a layer of hell. And it was called the Science Center.
Oh my goodness.
And it sucks people in and spits them out. And I realized that I was not called to be a neurosurgeon, but the place that came from was I wanted to fix people's head and fix their thinking. And I was like, how else can I do that? Because I know that's what I was called to do. So my calling wasn't wrong. My assignment to it was wrong. So I assigned something to it that wasn't meant to be. But I was always called to help people fix their head.
You're starting already. My assignment wasn't wrong.
I assigned to it, the name I assigned to it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was meant to fix people's head, and I had to figure out what that was. And so for me, it was in organizations, fixing the brain of the company, the culture, how people worked, why they worked, and to make them more productive. And I realized that was where I was supposed to be. And so that's where I ended up going, and kept doing that in corporate environments, from Georgia State University to a Goldman Sachs to a Kaiser Permanente, and realized, wait a minute, they're making money off of me. What is it like I can make money off myself?
Okay.
And then I started my company.
Okay. So a career in HR for the longest. So you know a lot of stories.
Oh, I tell people I could write an Emmy-nominated movie, sitcom with no creativity.
Wow.
Because when I say I work with people that ended up on To Catch a Predator. I've had to help the FBI,
oh my goodness,
in HR. I've had to break the news to people that their spouse was cheating on them, and we had it on camera.
Okay, first of all, how you got to do that at HR? Like, really? How'd you find it? And why'd you have to tell them?
When I say HR, people think HR is just about hiring and firing. HR is the brains and the heart of the organization. HR knows everything. So like the example where I had to let somebody know their spouse was cheating on them. Their spouse was doing something they had no business doing in a stairwell. We had cameras in that stairwell, and their spouse, that couple both worked at the university. One person had to be terminated,
Dethra.
And they had to understand why my spouse was terminated. And it's on tape.
They didn't know that the tape was going. Okay, I have so many questions, but I cannot ask. I don't want to violate anything.
When I tell you HR, and this is from the top down, so your people in HR know everything that's happening in that company, pretty much from whose check is being garnished and why, to who's being hired and fired and why, and why a decision was made, how the company runs, how we make money, who's making those money decisions. And people just skirt over HR. I'm like, that's your end. We know what positions are going to become available. We know who might be leaving.
So if you really want to want to end with a company, you need to be cool with the HR person.
I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Having the tough conversations with people, especially being fired or the tough ones like that, I'm sure those are anomalies. I'm sure in the stairwells doing the nasty is probably got to be the anomaly. I hope it is anyway. But breaking bad news to people, is there art to it?
There is an art to it. One thing that's made me good at what I do, which is why I knew I was called to it, is I have a gift of seeing the silver lining in a realistic fashion. So I'm not this rose-colored, everything is great person.
Okay.
But I am the person that says there's another side to this. Like this is going through and this is a tunnel and there's a light at the other side of it. So I'm always about making you see that light as opposed to seeing the darkness of the tunnel.
Dealing with big personalities, tough personalities, dealing with men, dealing with just personalities in general. What's the skill set? What's the secret sauce?
The skill set is to have my own ego that doesn't spill onto other people's ego. What's that look like? I know that sounds crazy, right? So I'm dealing with big egos, and the main thing you don't do with the big ego is crush that ego. When you crush that ego, it is like setting off a bomb. It is like the activator of a bomb if you try to crush the ego, because they're going to blow up. But they also don't respect someone that comes in there mild-mannered and soft and measly and afraid. So I'm able to come in there big, bold, whoever I am, with a smile on my face and say, I'm not going to crush your ego, but you're not going to step on mine either. And there's a respect that forms there. So I'm feminine energy. I come in all woman. I don't need to be in a black gray suit. I come in a bright yellow suit looking like sunshine. But you're welcome, and let's work together.
Yeah.
And when you bring that type of thing to the place, it's like, as long as I get to have my ego and we can work together, I'm fine, and I'm not challenged by that.
I think that's a strength. If you have authentic feminine energy or authentic masculine energy, I think it only feels weird if you step outside of it, male or female.
Absolutely.
If you step outside of it to get something, then it gets a little weird.
Right.
Like guys that just get in that feminine energy, trying to make peace. Now it's weird. Nobody's just going to respect that. Feminine, same thing, vice versa.
But what's happened is what we've done is we've made different wrong and wrong equal the same thing. So now because things are different, that has to be bad. So if there's a feminine energy, oh, that must be inferior. Don't let them tell you you're inferior. No. It's equal. It's just different.
Equal don't mean same.
Equal don't mean wrong. I mean, different doesn't mean wrong.
Yeah.
Just because we have different energies does not mean mine is less. When we respect each other's energy and we put those things together, it's like the Power Rangers, like come together and connect, and like we make something amazing. Yeah,
and so the thing about equality, and I've heard people have this conversation before, different doesn't mean wrong, but equal doesn't mean same
not at all.
Either.
It does not.
And oh my goodness.
And it's hard for people to understand that, like even as I work in this diversity, equity, and inclusion environment, people like, well, doesn't equity mean that everyone get the same thing? No, because everyone doesn't need the same thing. So if we want everybody to be on an equal playing field, you may need $10,000. I may need $100,000 to get us to the same place. We didn't get the same thing, but now we're equitable.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
So it doesn't necessarily mean we have to get the same thing for there to be equality.
Okay. So as a burgeoning woman that was coming through the ranks and making your way, work speaking for you, what were your challenges? Because there are a lot of women that are, possibly watching this and they kind of want to know, hey, how'd you do it?
The hardest thing for me was recognizing that my work didn't always speak for me.
Well, that way to shut me down. Way to tell me you don't know what you're talking about, Bo. But you're good at doing that. But what now? What's up?
But I had to realize sometimes I had to speak for myself, right?
Ooh, okay.
Sometimes I thought if I work my butt off, if I come in early, I leave late, I go the extra mile, they will see it. They will recognize it, they will value it, and they will reward me for it. But when I sat back and watched, the good old boys weren't coming in early and leaving late. But they had a big bullhorn. Hey, I worked on that project. It was a success. And while I'm sitting back thinking, no, I worked on that project. It was a success because of me, but surely everyone will know. No,
Gotcha.
they didn't know. So I started getting me a bullhorn too. Ooh. I came in early yesterday, left late, worked on the project. I like, let me get me bullhorns work.
Oh.
Let me get me a bullhorn. So I had to stop waiting for people to recognize and being comfortable saying, I did that.
Okay. So, you don't have to have the same bullhorn. I'm sure yours was pink with flowers on it or yellow or something, but you do have to toot your own horn.
You got to be comfortable. And it feels odd because we've been told not to do that. We were raised as, don't be braggadocious. Don't be egotistical. Slow down a little bit. I remember growing up, I was always the fast, loud talker, and that's not ladylike. Well, the ladylike girls weren't getting promoted. The people who were quiet and waiting for someone to come to them, they weren't the head of the department. The ones who, no, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sir. That wasn't him.
Yeah.
That was me. Now, it was us, but I played a part in that. You need to know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it also is in how you say it. So walk me through this. I used to, when I first came into like syndicated radio, I had a boss, bless his heart, he's gone now. He would say, some people only respond to a good cussing out. Okay. Or he would say, you got to speak the language of the person that you're talking to. And for many years as a leader, that didn't serve me very well. It may have served him well, or it may not have. Because at the end, he didn't really keep, he was job to job to job to job. He would go in, build, get it established, but they never kept him. He was the bulldozer that was necessary to start it, but he did not have the touch to keep it going. And so I believed what he said, and I tried to work some of that stuff, but it didn't play very well for me. So I think what I had to learn, and you can help me with this, was just because you can, that means you should. And there are some people that they have their own issues that when you raise the volume, it kind of goes above their issues or whatever, but it will put y'all at odds. But if you could be smart enough to recognize the issue, deal with the issue, and with grace and empathy, help them get around it, now you've got a comrade or a client or whatever, in my case, for life. And that has worked well for me.
I think you have to decide what you want to do and who you want to be. There's not a wrong way to do it. It's the way that you're comfortable receiving the consequences from, right?
Okay, right. Flesh that out. Flesh that one out.
So I think of your career, your life, your business as an apartment building. And in your life, in your business, in your career, you have to decide, do you want to be the construction company or the management company? Now, the construction company is simply there to get this job done, and I'm moving on to the next. There's nothing wrong with being a construction company. Those construction companies make mega money, and they're always employed. But they're not there for the long haul. They know that when they start the project, and they do the project that way. That's why when you get into your house, you have factory stuff. You end up going out and saying, I don't want this factory refrigerator. I'm going over here to get the one I want.
Right.
Because the construction company wasn't there for the relationship. They were there to get this house built, get paid, and move on.
Ooh.
Now, do you want to be a management company? That's the place that says, you know what, I do need to worry about this relationship. I need to worry about how this is going to go in the long haul, what the future of this looks like, because we're going to be together. And so I have to now manage this situation. And now, even throughout life, you may be a construction company in your career, but a management company in your marriage.
Good.
Right?
Good.
So you have to decide, what do I want to be in this situation? And am I comfortable with the consequences of being that in this situation?
Yo, Dethra, this is so good. How many of us have taken somebody else's example or somebody else's model and said, because they're successful, then I need to do the same thing? But if you take more of a granular look, you realize, you were in the room with Magic Johnson, you was in the room with Kobe, and you was in the room, but you was in the room one time. You didn't have no real relationship per se. You might have got a lot of money one time. Right. And I'm saying that, honestly, a lot of times we're good at getting.
We're not good at keeping.
Keeping is a whole different skill set.
Yeah. And we have to ask ourselves, do I want to keep this? Right?
True.
Because there are situations where you may think, I don't want a relationship with Magic, Kobe, and them. I do want to get this money and move on.
Yeah.
But there are other times when you think, okay, in the long haul, what's better here? Is it better for me to be a management company? So sometimes that means I'm going to forego the money. You know what? I may not make the big bucks on this, but this is a big bucks relationship that I can build. And so I'm here as a management company because if we do this right, I'll be managing this property for the rest of my life.
So going into the relationship, you have to determine what it is that you want from that relationship.
What's your outcome? And now you may look at somebody who did it differently and think, that doesn't work. It works for them.
It worked for them.
Because they decided this is a construction situation for me. And so what happens is we're copying people's model or using their formula, not asking, what was your outcome from? What did that, what did all that equal for you?
Right.
And do I want that equation?
Right. Because some people, hey, man, I want to make $1 billion. Well, the model that you're looking at that made $1 billion, what does their family dynamic look like?
What does that look like?
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody, I want to be Beyonce. No, you don't. You actually don't.
Yeah.
Do you want your husband to cheat on you publicly and have to write an album about it?
See, that's so evil the way you said that. That's so mean-spirited.
I mean, this is true.
But I get it. I'm bugging. I get it.
Do you want to spend, this woman, we saw her doing the making of the Homecoming album. This woman was up dancing, 8, 9, 10 hours a day while raising twins, just had a baby?
Yes.
I can't get you to go to the gym once a week.
Yep.
You don't want to be Beyonce.
We want outcomes. We do not want process.
No.
And those are two different distinctive things.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that you should lock in on the outcome if you don't first look at the process that brings that outcome.
Absolutely.
Because that might make you change what you say you want, which is that outcome.
It will. And one of the things I always tell people is that we think success is a product when it's actually a byproduct. Success is a byproduct of doing certain things. So we think we can go to the store and buy success. If I give you money, I'll get success. No, success is just like how the sausage is made. It's a byproduct of everything else that has to go into it. And if you don't get all the products, you will never get the byproduct.
And sometimes when you look at the process, because I think success is a byproduct, but it's also a process. When you look at the process to get to the end result, like sausage, you kind of I'm good on sausage.
Yeah, now that you know how it's made.
Yeah. What is that case stuff? What is it in? And why is it so stretchy? Little nasty stretchy.
It's the truth. When you get behind, even with us, think about our success. Everybody, they want to be the leading voiceover, but what kind of work has KD put in? Not even just the work. People are, okay, I could do the work. How much investment have you made in the gifts? Because your voice is a God-given gift.
Yeah.
But there's investment that comes in that. There's stuff that you had to do. I had to learn how to use this voice the right way. I had to learn inflection. I had to learn how to bring things up and down. I had to learn to make you want to buy something simply because, and that costs money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to invest the time. You want everything to be free. And that's not how it works.
People, I laugh at them. Had a guy in the lobby yesterday. Tom and I was walking in, and this guy, he wanted an in. And you could tell, he was hungry. And he's like, kind of put me on, help me out. And he said, man, I talked to this person and that person, and man, they never reached back out. They didn't. I said, well, and here's a question that people don't consider. I said, you asked him for that. I said, what did you offer? He said, what you mean? That right there. I said, what you offer? Because I'm going to tell you something. If you help a person solve their problem before you ask for something, the chances of them reciprocating that are going to be exponentially higher.
Absolutely.
And he was sitting up there like you saw the light bulb come off in his eyes. He's like, oh. I said, now if you did a jingle for this radio personality. And he never came back and did what he said he was going to do. Guess what you have? You have a resume where you got a jingle that's playing on the radio that you did. So when you go to somebody else and say, yeah, I'm the guy that did the jingle for so-and-so and so, you hear it every day. So we got to kind of think outside of it. What are you willing to give? And people say, hey, man, teach me how to do voiceovers. Teach me how to do voiceovers, man. What are you willing to give? What you want? What's your budget?
What is your budget?
Oh, why I get loud though? What's your budget? That's what I'm saying. What's your budget, sir? You got a budget?
And take it up an octave.
Yeah, people. Well, I didn't think I had to pay. Why?
Why?
Why didn't you think you had to pay? Where did you get that from? And I'm only saying this to your point. People, they want what they say what they want, but they're not willing to pay for it with time, energy, or money.
That's the thing. And here's what people don't recognize. People are shocked when I say I do not and have not ever worked for free. And when I say that, they're like, but Dethra, you clearly say you haven't always charged.
Yep, I understand.
Just because you're not charging doesn't mean it's free. I will tell you one of the events that I have made the most money off of didn't pay me the first 5 times I did it. It's a conference called the HR Star Conference, and it was really where I got my break as a keynote speaker. But that conference was a conference that all of the HR professionals attended wherever it was. It was in Atlanta, it was in LA, it was in San Francisco, and it was in Columbus, Ohio. Now, when I went to that conference, they didn't pay me, but I was there speaking to my audience. So I benefited them because, hey, everybody likes hearing Dethra. Your session's always sold out. Because I was a good speaker, eventually he said, wait, we want you to be the keynote. You can't keep being a breakout speaker because now your sessions are being so packed. It's a fire hazard. Wow. So we want you to be the keynote. That was after 5 sessions. Wow. But those first 5, I made a ton of money because now I'm in front of the people that are my target audience speaking, and afterwards there was a line. We can't even start the next session because your class has a line out of it. Ooh. They didn't pay me. I wasn't speaking for free.
Ooh, bars.
Right?
Ooh, bars.
So understand, like you said, what are you bringing to the table? I'm not giving them anything free. Well, it's not free. Your jingle is being played, and that goes on your resume, whether they call you back or not.
I know you help people. You help personalities, brands, and you help them scale. Specifically, how do you do that?
So I actually sit them down. First, I want to know, where are you actually going? I realize that most people have no clue where they're going. They want to be successful, but they haven't defined success. What is success for you? Especially in career, people will say, I want to be successful. Does that mean you want to own your own business? Do you want to be the CEO? Do you want to be director? So I first start off with, what is your ultimate goal? And then we reverse engineer it. I'm a very logical person, so reverse engineer is my thing. How do we work backwards from here all the way to where you are right there? And let's have stair step it. And now you have a full strategy and a plan from day 1 to day 2 on how you get to where you want to be. Okay.
And so you want to know where you want to be. And after they tell you where they want to be, do you ever say, yeah, that ain't for you?
Yes.
Pumpkin.
I
know you do. I know you do.
No, I do. Because, and here's how that happens. I'm very realistic with people about what it takes.
Okay.
And I will ask them, and basically looking at their lives and their goals and where they're aligned, like, does that really align with where you say you want to go? And, well, I'm not willing to do this. So I had one person, I want to be a lawyer. Okay, so when you going to go back to school? I don't want to go back to school.
Oh, Lord.
So what they had heard, because, Kim Kardashian did her thing, and out in California, they have this new thing now where you could do some apprenticeship stuff for a while and then become, like, take the baby bar or whatever. So, okay, cool. You going to move to California? Well, I was wondering.
Oh, no.
Okay, so how about a paralegal? Well, I was just thinking I could take what I already have. So how about either I'm not the coach for you or this is not the career for you, because I don't work miracles in that way.
Yeah.
And so most of the time when I tell someone this is not for you, it's about us having a real conversation about what it's going to take and their willingness to do that.
Yeah.
And when we start hemming and hawing, this might not be for you.
No. There are people that want to leave their jobs and become entrepreneurs. So talk to me about the psychology of that person, and when is the best time to do that? And is that for everybody?
No. Here's what we've done. I think we've done a huge disservice to so many people. And we've made it seem like entrepreneurship is the only path to success. And because of that, especially in minority communities, we know if you start a business, that's why half of us don't even want to tell our family we have a business, because in their mind, you could borrow money from Dee Dee because she got that business.
Wow.
Like, no, that is not how any of this works, right? So we've done a disservice to make people think that that's the only path to success. And I'm like, listen, you all, Ken Chenault was the head of American Express. He was an employee, $1 million a year. Ursula Burns was the CEO of Xerox, making money. Caroline Wanga, CEO of Essence, employee, making money. So there is a path to make money as an employee. But even as an employee, I believe you should be an employeepreneur. Your career is your business. Employeepreneur. Yep. That mainly means that you are managing your career like a business, because it is. You are UINC. And when you're in someone's company, you are the product that you're selling. I tell all of my clients, you are a multi-billion-dollar organization and your career is your product. So when you're out there, you are managing your career like it's a business, because there is nothing magical about entrepreneurship. If you are a miserable employee, you will be a miserable entrepreneur.
Come on.
Like, there's nothing magical about crossing the line, filling out your LLC.
Yeah. I think the whole thing of I'm going to be my own boss. It's definitely overrated, because if you're not a good employee, you're not going to make a really good boss. Let me tell you why. You know why. Because a lot of people just trade getting paid from somebody else to having a sole proprietorship of a business where you realize that you're an awful boss. You don't get no time off. You especially when I'm just going to grind them and work. Now your family, I want to say they don't like you. I kind of want to tell you they hate you.
They hate you.
Because you're never there.
They hate you.
So it's a lot to it. And the money ain't what it was. And you still in this perpetual building phase, all because you didn't want nobody to tell you what to do.
And here's the deal. I tell people, as an entrepreneur, I have more bosses than I've ever had as an employee.
Say it.
Because every client is my boss.
Yeah.
Every client can hire and fire me. Every client determines they determine my lifestyle. They determine my kids going to college. They determine the car I drive, how I eat.
Yeah.
Every single client is a boss with their very own deadlines, their very own requirements, their very own needs. So I went from having a boss to having 50 bosses.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you're really going to serve them well, you have to put up with a lot of personalities. You got to put up with a lot of temperaments, and you have to swallow that whole, I'm going to push your wig back. You got to swallow all of that, because some people get really disrespectful. You got to be direct. Well, we're not going, you can't talk to me like that. However, what we can do, we can find some outcomes that can fix this situation. And when we fix it, it's not going to come at your cost. We're going to take care of it.
I remember one morning, a client pushed me all the way over the edge because it was early in the morning. She called me frantic.
But why did you answer your phone, though?
And I simply said to her in the calmest tone ever, if you are not willing to share your medication, you may not share your crazy with me this early in the morning. I'll talk to you at a reasonable hour. And hung up the phone.
Did she laugh?
No, I don't know if she laughed because I hung up the phone. I was like, I'm not doing this with you this morning. She called me back about 1 PM like, is this a reasonable hour?
Oh, okay, there you go. Because she needed what you brought. Right.
Yeah. And I knew her. And that's the thing, too, about being an entrepreneur. You have to know your clients so well that you know when to push, when to pull back, when to say no more, and where to set those boundaries up for them. because she's one of those clients that had a 24-hour business. So we did talk at crazy hours. But here's what's not going to happen during these crazy hours that we talk. And so she needed that boundary set. But I had to be so intimate with her to know this as an entrepreneur that you don't want to have that level of intimacy as an employee. So that's something you're not ready to jump into just yet. And so they need to pump the brakes a little bit before they think entrepreneurship is the answer.
Employeepreneur, that's one piece of it. You can scale within the company and you give people tips on how to be able to do that. You've got all of these resources and everything, and people can get those resources where?
Yeah, Happily Ever Employed is my podcast.
Okay.
And then they can go to execuprep.com, which is our company website. That's the part where they can find more information on how to do better in their career.
Very good. Very good. So what happens when, and I'm sure this might be a part of Happily Ever Employed, if you do need to leave? What are the signs that you do need to leave your job?
Oh, my gosh. We talked about it the other day about exit strategy. Your exit strategy is just as important as your career strategy. I get tired of seeing people chicken winged up out of the office. Like
chicken winged.
I'm in HR. I've seen so many people escorted out the office.
Oh, chicken.
You know how the cops have
right. Oh, my gosh.
Escorted up out of the office. And what people don't understand oftentimes is you can negotiate your exit just like you negotiate your entrance.
How about that?
I know. I've helped so many people negotiate their exit. Like most often when it's a bad situation, they want you gone just as much as you want to be gone. And I see people leave with nothing. I want to let them fire me because if they fire me, I get an employment. How about you don't let them fire you? You negotiate 2, 3, 6 months of severance where they're paying you the entire time, including benefits. And potentially when you leave, you can actually get them to hire you as a consultant. I know.
And you do that?
Yes. And people don't recognize that, and they think, I'm gonna fight for. Why? Why would you fight to be in a relationship that you no longer want to be a part of? They don't want you. You don't want them. Let's split amicably. And here's the deal. Every job, no matter how bad of an employee you are, every job is concerned about the fallout of firing you. That's why they've kept you for so long to this point, because they're trying to make sure if we fire this person, will there be any fallout? If you can come to them and say, listen, I can help you with the fallout situation. Let's discuss it. Oh, wait a minute. You can lessen this?
That's good. Oh, that's good.
So we can part ways. There'll be no fallout. You'll sign something saying you won't sue us or file a suit against us when this is over. And we can get rid of you. And it only costs us 10, 15, whatever. Because even if they have even if you have a lawsuit and let's say you have no case whatsoever, they still got to pay attorneys.
Oh,
it costs, I'm telling you from the HR side, it costs us money to defend a lawsuit, even if I know you're dead wrong. That's why you see a lot of settlements. People think if a company settles, they must be wrong. No, I just recognize it's cheaper to settle with you than it is to go down this road.
Right.
And so I'll spend $20,000, $30,000 in attorneys. I could pay you $10,000 to shut up.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Okay. So the person that says, I need Dethra Giles on my team. I need Dethra. Now I know, I personally, I know she ain't nowhere near cheap. Let me throw that out there real quick. Let me put that in your spirit. But she's effective. She's incredibly effective. How to get in contact with you?
They can hit me up on IG, Dethra.Giles. Here's the spelling, DETHRA.GILES, or my professionals know to hit me on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, you need to be on there. And I'm just Dethra Giles on LinkedIn.
Okay. Dethra Giles, you hit her up on online. And of course, we'll link everything into the description box so you can go to all the links that she talked about. I appreciate you. And you listen, we are doing this often as we can.
Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Because you're busy and stuff. There you go. Appreciate you.